YouTube vinyl community, Beach Boys fans, random people on the internet, my name is Giggens, and we're here today to talk about the Beach Boys album, Holland. This guy right here. This album's been reissued a bunch of times over the years, most recently with the Sail Sailor box set, and I thought to myself, what's the best sounding version of this album out there? There's a lot of them. There's CDs, there's tapes, there's records, there's different types of records, different types of CDs, and I have a lot of them here, so let's get into it. This happens to be the 1991 Caribou copy with the gray back on it. And for me, this is one of the best sounding copies of Holland I've ever heard. It's bright, it's articulate, it just shines the whole way through. The vocals are very upfront, including the background vocals. They just glow. You can hear them so articulately. Every member's voice is so well blended and well represented. It's just a glorious sounding copy of this album. So highly recommend you suss out one of these guys from 1991. It will not disappoint you. If you got a good, decent player, it's going to sound fantastic. Up next is the Twofers from 2000. This has Carl and the Passions on it as well, but it's also got Holland with the EP. This version sounds really good. I would say for a well-blended, mixed album, it's really decent. It gets the job done. I wouldn't say it's the most quote-unquote exciting sounding copy in terms of top end, but in terms of just sounding like a good, decent mix, you really can't go wrong with this one. Up next, we've got, also from 2000, the Japanese single release of Holland with no Carl and the Passions. It's just the Holland album. Little Obi strip there. So it looks very similar to the two first sets. This one sounds really good as well. It's a lot louder. It's a much louder mix. It's very punchy, very crisp, but the loudness can be a bit of a factor because things just feel a little overwhelming. It's a super audio CD, or HM CD as they call it, but it does sound fantastic, but I would say it's just the tiniest bit harsh, and that might just be my ears. And last for the CDs, the Sail Sailor 2022 mix. This really is a solid mix. The only thing I would say about it that's different from the others is much more bass response. They really cranked up the bass, which is a common thing with reissues these days to make them sound more quote-unquote current. The bass gets more represented, which is fine. The bass playing on this album is fantastic, but you really get enveloped by that bass. It can definitely be a little heavy at times, not overwhelmingly bad, but just enough to be like, oh yeah, that's a bit different. So vocally, it sounds fantastic. The top end is nice and smooth. It's a very crisp, articulate pressing, or remaster, I should say. But yeah, you really can't go wrong with this one either. It sounds really decent. Let's move to the vinyl. Here's an original 1973 copy, and these originals really sound great. I mean, the drums are crisp and up front, the vocals are very present, the piano sounds sharp and it's really in your face. It's a really well mixed album, very punchy, fun to listen to, very easy on the ears. An original copy sounds very good. Up next from 2016, the Analog Productions remaster. This thing is an absolute beast. It's basically perfection on vinyl. Analog Productions, if you're not familiar with them, basically makes the best sounding albums you'll ever hear. This thing really is perfect. It's clean, it's crisp, it's punchy, but it's well mixed. Things have a perfect balance. The vocals are just shining, and the background vocals too. Some of the mixes of this album, the background vocals get a little behind, which obviously they're background vocals, that's gonna happen, but it's also the Beach Boys. We wanna hear that. So hearing the background vocals be up front, especially on like the opening track, Sail Sailor, hearing those guys so articulately and so in your face about it, but also very comforting and pleasant on the ears. There's nothing sharp about this. There's nothing that is gonna hurt your ears at all. It's very crisp and clean, but it's got a well-rounded analog sound because that's what they specialize in. So it sounds like they're playing in the room with you. It's easily one of the best sounding presses on vinyl you'll ever hear. And up next, from the Sail Sailor box set, the 2022 remaster, this thing is a really well-balanced sound. It's like the most perfect blend. So you kind of get the best of both worlds, where it's crisp and clean, it's got that decent low end, it's punchy where it needs to be. It's a very good sounding pressing, especially just to have one back on the shelves. Like this really, you can't go wrong with it. If you can't pick up the Analog Productions one and you can't find an original, this really is a good way to go. It's clean, nice in the ears, very smooth, very crisp. Really can't go wrong with this one. They did a great job with it. So there you go. Just some thoughts of mine on the Beach Boys Holland album, on the different releases over the years. Obviously, all of our hearing is different. We're all going to hear different things and pick up on different parts that sound better to us. So things that I enjoy might sound horrible to you guys or whatever, vice versa. But that's the fun thing about music. We get to pick our different things and, feel what sounds right to us. It's very fun. So let me know what your thoughts are, especially on the newest one, on the 2022 version. What's your thoughts on this one in particular? But does it matter what format you listen to it on? Do you prefer the CD? Do you prefer the vinyl? Do you like a cassette tape? That 1991 CD, the Caribou one, really is one of the best sounding copies of this album I have ever heard. And they're fairly cheap to pick up online. You can find one for well under 20 bucks. I found mine in a store, I think, for like $8 or $10. So for pretty cheap, you get a really excellent sounding copy of this album. So I recommend it. That one, and if you can find the Analog Productions, that record is good stuff. But if you can't afford that one, if you can't find it, I think they're out of print at this point. I mean, they only pressed like 1,000 or something, so it's kind of a drag. But this new one for 2022, excellent sounding pressing. Definitely recommend this one. So if you're looking to get a copy on vinyl for the first time and you can't find an original, pick up the new one. This is from the box set, but the ones that come with the 2-disc set with the actual Sail on Sailor cover. Yeah, you get Carl and the Passions at the same time, so can't go wrong there. But yeah, there you go. What are your thoughts? What's your favorite pressing of Holland? I really want to hear what you guys have to say about this one. I thought it'd be a fun video to make. And we'll see you guys soon. Thanks so much for watching. My name is Giggens. This has been the Beach Boys Holland. What's the best sounding pressing in your opinion? Thanks for watching. See you guys next time. Bye.